Good afternoon, people. You are now tuned in to Urban Voices Radio. I am your host, Brad Harrison. I got my girl T. Marie in the building.
What's up?
And I got my main man, Sean Mucker, on the boards. What's going on, Sean?
What's going on? How you doing?
We have a very, 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 very special show today. We have three of my favorite people in the city of Louisville. Give me a second.
Everybody is favorite.
Are we here? Are we good? Yeah, we go. We have three of my favorite, I have a lot of favorite people. These are three of some of my favorite people that are in the studio today. I'm going to introduce them to you people. Starting on the right, which will probably be your left, is Miss Chelsea Ellis. Chelsea is the president of Jim Reynolds Asphalt. In the middle, in the white shirt, we have Megan Bell. Megan Bell is the owner of Next Door Market. Next Door, look, this is special, people. Next Door Market is going to be your only black-owned grocery store in the city of Louisville. So that is currently under construction. She has a lot of partnerships going on. We're going to talk about all of that. And then on my left, which is your far right, I hope I'm saying this right, but on my right is my girl, Ashlee Swift. Ashlee has another interesting story. I had Ashlee on the show, man. We were at a different station. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. What year was that? Was that 2016?
That was one of them years. Just keep going.
About 4 years ago, we had Ashlee on, and Ashlee has a crazy story. Ashlee was on a trip out in Vegas, and on the trip, she was involved in a car accident, ended up losing an arm. I reached out to her. She came on the show, told her story, and since then, she's became a dominant force in the real estate market in Louisville, Kentucky. So this is our women empowerment show, and the reason we want to have you guys up is because when we were looking at the Breonna Taylor situation, I don't think a lot of people look at it through this lens, but I was looking at it as initially it didn't gain a lot of steam. And I know a lot of times things gain steam when you see video of things, but also it seems like when atrocities happen to women, particularly black women, they don't get the attention that you would get from a male. So I wanted to bring you guys in to let the world know that black women are making boss moves out here right now as well, and you guys deserve as much as the attention and shine as everyone else. So let's get into this. Chelsea. Chelsea, you've been doing this.
Look, right, put me on the hot seat. All right, I'm ready.
Chelsea's been doing a thing for a while, people. I've known Chelsea about the same amount of time, 4 or 5 years. Chelsea actually wrote a book. She had graduated from high school, wrote a book, and she topped Amazon's bestseller list. So Chelsea's been doing things for a minute. You went on to become the, are you president of Jim Reynolds?
Yeah, I'm president and now co-owner since it's been a year or so. About a year.
All right, so tell people your story. Look, and Chelsea's story is kind of amazing.
You also got to tell people how old you are.
Yeah, so I'm 25 now. Yeah, I'm 25.
25 years old.
I turned 25 in June. Yeah.
President of Jim Reynolds. So, Chelsea, take us back through the journey. Because last time we talked, well, not the last time, but the first time we talked, you came out of high school. You didn't really want to go the college route. So you're like, you know what? I don't really want to do the college thing. Your family was into a business. You decided to go in that direction. And how did we end up here?
Definitely. Actually, you were the first person to ever interview me, too. That was my first ever interview at a book release that I had. So it's always cool to come back full circle and seeing how far, as far as things come. I probably was maybe 19 or 20 then when I first published the book. But as you mentioned, I started out, I always grew up around entrepreneurship and just hustlers, people who worked hard, and I seen, what their hard work got them. So like my father, he's owned many businesses. My mother's a hairstylist. So growing up around that, I seen that the possibility of you really didn't have to go to college in order to be successful, and that sometimes just working hard, staying dedicated can get you what you want out of life. So when I got to that point of graduating high school, I was like, well, I have this business that I can give a try. I know I want to be in business because I like everything that it entails. So let me see what it will get me if I focus and, just focus on business and learning. And that's what I did. And from there, the rest has been history. So I still consider myself as going to school, but I didn't do it the traditional way. So I went to a lot of seminars. I went to a lot of events. I went and got a lot of coaches, mentors, and paid for those coaches and mentors. And then from there, I just kept learning and applying what I was learning until everything just kind of built to what it is now. So now I've been able to be co-owner of my family's business, president, and then just reaching back and helping other people who want to get into business and entrepreneurship. So it's been a fun journey.
So look, me witnessing the journey. The 18 or 19-year-old Chelsea is a totally different Chelsea than I see now. At 18, 19, I saw the drive in you, but you were a little on the shy side.
Yeah, definitely.
So which is to be expected at that age. So you come into the family business. This is the question I have. You have, what, 2 sisters?
I have 1 sister, 3 brothers.
1 sister, 3 brothers.
I'm the youngest.
You're the baby. So this is a family business that you came into. Of all the other siblings, what was it about you that the torch was passed to you?
I think one thing, being the youngest, I'm the youngest of my siblings, and then even I have a lot of cousins and family, and I've always been like the youngest of the whole crew. But I've been able to learn from them and learn from their mistakes, see what they were doing. And I always was a quiet and observing type of person. So I was looking like, okay, you're doing this. You might go to college and you didn't know what you wanted to do. You just went because you thought you had to go. Or you went to college and you knew what you wanted to do. So you got out in your 4 or 5 years. You know, you just chilling, hanging with the homies, and this is what's happening. So I paid attention to kind of everybody around me and realized that, you know, it's just all about focusing and being who you want to be. A lot of people let other people influence them and let, you know, just the world influence them and thinking, okay, this makes a lot of money, let me do that. But I realized that if I just stayed true to myself and figured out who I was, what I wanted to be, and then kind of combine other things, and I started thinking, let me try this and see if it works. And then that's what I did the whole time. I was like, let me stay true to what I want to do and try different things. So I did radios, books, I did all these different things. I was like, let me try to see what I like to do and test it out while I'm young. And then after testing out, I figured out who I was. And then it allowed me to just become more confident as a business owner. So being young, I think it actually helped me because I was just able to witness everybody else and their, you know, ups and downs and their journey, to where I was able to just take pieces of it and use it in mine so that I didn't have to experience the mistakes that they experienced. So it helped me to reach my goals quicker too.
All right, so we're talking Black entrepreneurship. So Black entrepreneurship is a big topic now because now we're finally coming to terms. I've been in that space for a long. I used to get criticized for it. You know what I mean? Because people, you know, we grew up in a lot of Black households. We grew up with the philosophy that money wasn't everything. You know, so that was having into our head like money wasn't everything. We had God, and that's all we needed. And God is first, but that's all we needed. So we didn't concentrate on wealth, on entrepreneurship, and more importantly, on building generational wealth. So for you, coming into a family that already had a business, a successful business, do you feel like coming into that, being in that family with generational wealth already being established, was that a positive for you?
Oh, definitely. It's the positive that I think a lot of privileged people who are successful quickly have.
Donald
and I
Trump.
think, exactly, and that's what our community, you know, has lacked in. So being able to be on the other side of it and seeing what happens when you have parents that gave you a step ahead, and me just having parents that gave me a step ahead. There's other people who have grandparents and great-grandparents and all that gave them steps ahead. So just that one step ahead, I see how much of a difference it made for me as a business owner and just as a person in general, because I was able to learn about money. My father was telling me words and definitions of things in regards to money, residual income, when I was in elementary school, right. Telling me, Chelsea, when you make money, that money you make should make it over and over and over again. You shouldn't just get paid once for what you do. You need to find something that'll pay you over and over again. So him and my mother always told me things like that stuck with me once I got older, of, okay, let me apply these things. And it made a huge amount of difference. It saved me time, I think, mostly. Because a lot of times we have to figure it out on our own, and it wastes time because we're trying to figure it out instead of having mentors that can just tell us, right. That we trust, too, to tell us. A lot of people don't have the people around them that they trust and they see who have done it and applied it. So having that, it's sped up my growth and my success, I feel like, really quickly. And then they gave me also just I would say a head start because they are respected. So it allowed people to respect me quicker, having a family that, people could respect in the business world.
All right, so coming into asphalt and concrete is a male-dominated field.
Yeah.
So a female owner in a male-dominated field with, I would assume, probably predominantly male employees.
Definitely.
What challenges have you faced being a female entrepreneur in a male-dominated business? And at what point did you have to put on your big boss lady hat and be like, look, this is what it is?
Definitely. It's been very hard. One, just being able to have the confidence to make sure people know that I know what I'm talking about. When I first got into it, I had no clue about asphalt, concrete, barely knew anything. So it was like a whole new world and language to me. So I had to, from the gate, even when I didn't know anything, still act confident so people didn't know that I didn't know anything. So that was one of my main challenges, of just the fear in myself of thinking, all these people have been in the industry, and like the industry I'm in now, people have been, their families have been in the industry for 50, 100 years. So they, they got it down packed. So just learning how to just be confident was my main thing, because if you don't, they'll take advantage of you, whether it be contractors, employees, customers, in every area. They would take advantage of you if you don't show the confidence of, just knowing what you're talking about. So that was the biggest thing that I had to learn really quickly, that I couldn't let, people think just because I was a woman that I didn't know just as much, if not more than them. So I had to do more, educate myself more, and study more than most, just to be able to have that confidence, to be able to get in front of anybody and say, okay, I know what I'm talking about.
All right, being a boss lady, you behind the desk, you calling the shots, you making the moves. But does Chelsea know how to lay asphalt?
Do I know how? Yeah, will I do it? I don't know. If I have to, I will.
Has Chelsea done it? Has Chelsea done it before?
Yeah, everything I've done before. Any service that we provide, I've done before, know how to do it. And I tell the guys, and I tell the guys, because I know how to do it, I can do it, you should be able to do it 10 times better than me. Because I'm a woman, I'm 25, so you should be able to do it and do it right if I can do it right. So I always use that to them when I'm talking to them.
Have you ever had to get stern with them?
Oh yeah, all the time. This morning, they out working now. Before I got here, I had to. So this year too, my biggest thing was, I'm big on growing from the inside out. A lot of businesses, they try to grow big through only doing marketing, all those things that we know is good. But I realized if I didn't have the employees that can take care of the work, so if I'm out here getting all these jobs booked and all this money booked, and I don't have the employees that can do the work and get it done, then it's no good. So this year my focus has been really just building my employees, and I realize it starts with the mind more than anything. Most people, want to do good, want to work. We know we have to work, but they have family and life and personal problems that cause them to, lack in regards to what they do. So this year I've been big on every morning just talking to my employees, telling them how they can become just better people. And I realized just doing that, they become better workers. Because everything else is flowing. If your life is flowing good, then you can come to work happy. You like your boss, you coming happy, you ready to do the work. The work is the easy part. The hard part is being motivated to do it, is what I realized. So that's the psychology I realized behind it after working for a while is, just got to keep them motivated type of thing. So I use a lot of reverse psychology on them to make them do what I need them to do type of thing. But it works out in the long run.
All right, so running a small business, what would you say is the most important thing when it comes to being able to grow?
She just told you the employees.
No, to grow.
To grow?
Right.
It's a little bit of everything. You have your branding, you have your marketing. That's a big thing that you have to know how to do. And then being able to close the sales. So I would say branding is getting the awareness out there. Marketing is turning those leads into, customers, making them want to know more. And then sales is being able to close the deal. So being able to make them feel like I always say, make them feel like you're someone they can like and trust through that process. And I realize any customer, we all do business with somebody we like and trust. If you don't like and trust somebody, you ain't gonna want to do business with them. So that's my biggest goal through the process of what I think is the biggest thing in growing. And then the other part is just growing, like I said, the inside, making sure your foundation is strong. So everybody who's working with you, I always tell them we're like a family. You with the people you work with a lot of time, during the day. So I treat it like a family where I'm like, we all need to grow. And if we grow, the business will grow. We'll all be doing what we need to do in order to get things done and make the customers happy. So.
So closing the deal was a big topic for you a second ago. So closing the deal. Have you ever been in a situation where I know I got this deal? This is a big deal on the table. I know I got it, and it didn't come through.
Definitely. I've had deals not come through. I've had deals I done priced wrong and had to still do the job. I done had a lot of different, struggles in the business, learning struggles.
Okay, so you saying price wrong like under bidding?
Yeah, forgetting a zero. I don't forgot a zero once.
Just as a
I forgot a whole zero.
Like a clerical mistake. So is that like just a clerical mistake?
Yeah, off the invoice, forgot a zero. Yeah.
So you had to roll with it, huh?
I still roll with it. Took it as a loss. But like I said, people do business with somebody they like and trust. So he became a customer after that.
So let me ask you this. You don't have to name the person.
I wanted to cry.
Did he correct the zero?
I was going to ask you that.
Oh, look, you cuss. I was about to say, no, you correct no zero.
So wait a minute. So when he got the invoice and he knew the invoice
was probably... it's too good. Right. He probably like, dang, it's cheaper than every other. And I did this probably my first year in the business doing sales. And it's funny because I had to tell my dad, I called him, like, oh, you about to be mad. And he was like,
it happens.
It's okay. Just don't do it again. Don't do it again.
He didn't say we're going to take it out of your check.
He said we'll write it off on our taxes. That's what he said. And I was like, oh, okay. So, all right. And then I worked harder, though. After that, I ain't did it again.
Okay.
I've checked, double checked, triple checked everything because of that. So it was a learning situation where I haven't done it again, and I've learned how to be more proficient in what I do.
So along with this asphalt business, you had a cafe that you started.
Yep, definitely. That was fun too. I enjoyed it.
Can you explain what went on with that?
Yeah, so the cafe, that was just something for the community, really. I seen a space that was missing. It's crazy because I had a partner in that business as well. So he had already had the cafe. We actually share mutual friends and family. So because of that, we just ended up crossing paths. And I seen the cafe he had, and he invited me over. And I eventually just kind of thought and meditated on it. I was like, I'm gonna ask him if he wants a partner. If he needs a partner in this, because I knew I had the time and to be able to kind of add some value to it. So he ended up saying, yeah, I could use a partner. Let's see what we can do with this thing. So we ended up taking it, growing it. Our purpose was having a place for creatives, so people who like art, people who like music, entertainment, as well as pairing it with like business people because it was a cafe as well. So it was really fun. It was really fun. It was really great and teaching lesson on running a more traditional brick and mortar type of business.
Like a black Starbucks.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
They very successful. They would host a lot of talent.
Yeah,
they had a lot of music. A lot of up and coming music artists.
Yeah, I met so many different types of people. I think a lot of times we get stuck in our group of friends that we have. And that the cafe showed me how many different groups of cool people that there are in Louisville. Your hippies, your hip hop people, you're older, you're younger. It was a mix. Even we had high school rappers come in that was killing it. They concerts was like, I'm like, where are they coming from rapping like this in high school? Right. So it was great just to see how much talent. I learned how much talent we have here from opening up the cafe. So it was definitely a great experience, and how many educated people we have here too in so many different ways.
So what it sounds like is when it comes to business, that you can't be afraid to fail.
Right, definitely not.
You open multiple businesses, some are around, some are not, but you put your foot in the game, Exactly. So if you don't get in the game, you can't win.
Definitely. It's all about learning.
There it is.
Learning.
All right, so we're going to go over to my girl, Megan Bell. Megan Bell is opening a grocery store in West Louisville. And this is important, people, because if you're not in the metro Louisville area, then West Louisville is what has been considered a food desert. And when they use the term food desert, it's an area that doesn't have many grocery stores or many places to get fresh fruits and vegetables or healthy food as a whole. So there's been a void, and there's a I think in let me get this correct, in the, I don't know what mile radius that is, but when we look at maybe 1st Street to 34th Street, or even up to Shawnee Park, up to 46th Street,
let's say like 50-mile radius.
There's 2 grocery stores.
Yeah.
You have a Kroger on 26th, 28th and Broadway, and then you have a Kroger over in the Portland area. And for this large community, there aren't many options when it comes to grocery stores. Right. Now, there also aren't any options when it comes to black-owned grocery stores. So Megan has decided to fill that. How old are you, Megan?
31.
Megan is 31. So we have 25 and 31. Megan has decided to fill that void. So Megan has found, was it an empty building? Was it an old grocery store? What was the building you found?
I think it used to be like a food warehouse.
Okay.
Kind of something like that, like way back before we were even born. And then, because just the way the building is built, like I got a lot of information as far as history goes about it. But then it ended up being just a pallet where you just did like work on cars and different things like that. And actually the last person that was there, I know his daughter. And when she heard about me taking the building over, she was just crying and was just like, that used to be my dad's business. He's no longer it's no longer there. But she was just like overwhelmed with joy about it, that it was being used for like a good purpose.
Okay, so not to cut you off, my bad, but Megan, you've been Huffington Post. You've been in every publication across this country, maybe some out of the country. Mm-hmm. But nationally, you've been highlighted for opening this grocery store. 31 years old. And I think, how long have you been planning this?
3 years.
3 years. So 27 years old, or 28 years old. Yeah. At 28 years old, what inspired a 28-year-old? Because I'm looking at this as a vision. So 28 years old, probably at the time, no funds to get this done, right. Just a dream. A 28-year-old had a dream to open a grocery store, and now we're actually in the building phases. Yeah. So walk us through that process.
I've been really studying food insecurity and different things like that for 3 years. And in the meantime of doing that, I started building relationships and really understanding like why there's really no black-owned grocery stores. And even like, what was it, like 4 years ago, that sister, what is it called, the meat market?
Sisters on 18th and Algonquin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard, I started reading their story about, what they were doing and different things like that. And basically, we had this conversation before, like I just had read an article about Save-A-Lot closing, and I was just like, what can I do? Because I've always been the type of person that want to be involved in the community and do different things like that. And previously, I had the nonprofit called Virtuous Women that I was doing, and I just wanted to really do something that could really impact and so my kids can also see and leave something for them. So I just basically studied and said I was going to open this grocery store, and I really started reading articles about black-owned businesses all the way before I was born, how there used to be local black-owned grocery stores. And then like in those 3 years I started studying black-owned grocery stores in different states. Like there used to be one in New Orleans, there's one that's trying to open in Atlanta, there's one that's open in Compton, California, and different things like that. So that even motivated me even more to be like, okay, I'm really going to do this. I didn't have the funds to do it. I didn't have no resources, but I just put myself out there, and I started building relationships with people like Chelsea and good people like that. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. So just building those relationships and start getting the mentorship that I really needed to know how to run a grocery store. And I did that for like 6.5 months, like literally. Just going every day, getting that mentorship. And now I'm here.
Congratulations. so listen, and look, I want to look. It's interesting to hear your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because you're 31, so I'm a little older. I'm 40. I don't know right now. I'm 48. I had to think about that. You know, you get old, you have to think about it.
It's a 45 plus. This is okay. 45 plus.
Right. So I remember when there were black-owned grocery stores, when there were black-owned convenience stores, when there were black-owned record stores. I remember when there were a lot of black-owned businesses in our community. I grew up in the community that everything was black-owned. And for black people, I guess integration was kind of a gift and a curse for black people because we were able to integrate into other communities that we once weren't able to, but when we did, we left our communities, and the people that were making the money left the community as well.
Right.
So that left nothing but the impoverished people in the communities, and that wasn't enough income to be able to sustain the businesses right that were there. So in the quest of freedom, I guess, it didn't work out exactly the way we thought things were going to work out. So it's great to see that the generation coming behind us is now going back and picking up the ball and saying, well, wait a minute, you know, we need to start putting some of these businesses in place in our community. And I had this conversation a lot with people because now, today, we're in a place where I'm like, if I'm overwhelmed because I've been preaching black entrepreneurship and just black empowerment as a whole because we had avoided this for the last, at least 10 years. And when I was speaking a lot, it would at that time it would come off as to non-blacks as racist or racism. And then a lot of the challenge was me getting blacks to buy into this as well, because a lot of blacks had bought into the ideology that if you want something for yourself, it's racist. And
right.
I was trying. I grew up in California, so I was trying to get people in the mindset. If you've been to California, if you've been to Chicago, if you've been to New York, there are areas in San Francisco that's called Chinatown. It's completely owned, operated, and it's by Chinese. It's a shopping district. It's a living community, and people go there as tourists. It's great. You want to go and you want to experience the Chinese culture. If you go to Chicago, there's areas called Jewtown. There's different areas that, wow. Right. If you go to New York, there's different areas of town that different minority groups have kind of made their own, and they support their own, and there's nothing wrong with that. They support their own. In America, it's cool for everyone to do that except black people. When black people do it, there's this criticism, right? And a lot of us has bought into that notion ourselves that I had people that didn't want to set up a black-owned business. A lot of people didn't want to go with that. So you look here in this town, you have an entire area of town called Germantown. That's not by it was founded by German immigrants. You have a hospital here called Jewish Hospital. Everyone is proud of their heritage. You may not think of the roots of that, but it was rooted in someone's heritage. So there's nothing wrong with being proud of your heritage. And I think that the more people like you guys that start to instill black pride in our communities again. So when people look up now, because now when you go to poor communities, people might look up to a drug dealer or somebody that they see that's successful because they don't see any successful people. But when they see a Chelsea Ellis, they see a Megan Bell, they see a Ashlee Swift, then it's like motivation. Okay, well, if they did this, I can do this. Mm-hmm. So let's get back to the grocery store. So the grocery store is slated to open. Is there a date yet?
Yeah, August 2021.
August 2021. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're about a year out.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've been seeing different companies jump on board. I don't know the name of the company, but I saw one company say, hey, we're going to donate all your windows.
Yeah.
So you have a company doing that. Then I seen Chelsea Ellis jump on board and say, hey, your parking lot, your asphalt, we got you. So you have all these companies now. How does it feel to have all these companies now essentially pitching in like, we want to make this project be successful?
It was crazy at first because I think when I asked Chelsea if she could sponsor, I told her I was nervous and she was laughing like, really? And I'm like, yeah, but I've always been a humble person, so me asking for something is like very hard for me to do. So when I seen that PBG Paints was going to sponsor the paint for the building, all I really did was I just called up and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. And the corporation was like, we heard about your story. We got you, basically. Like, we're going to support this. And then Pella Windows jumped in. They heard about PVG Paints. Then Chelsea jumped in. And it's crazy.
Snowballing now.
Yeah, it's crazy how the corporations are now just starting to all come and say, hey, this is an amazing project. And I think what really got them really on board was the idea of the smart entrepreneur way of, oh wow, so she's gonna start a mobile grocery before she do a storefront.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like she really planned this out correctly. Like she's really taken her time and planned it out, and she's just not, saying that this is what she's gonna do, and it's not like a short plan. Like this is literally what she's doing like every day. So I think that's what really got, people like Chelsea and people on board even more willing to
is that your daughter?
be a part of that. Yeah.
Say hi, daughter. What's your name? Say hi. You stand up there. Oh, she's shy.
Is the mobile grocery store up and running as of right now? Or when will it be up and running?
It'll be up and running in like 2 weeks.
So tell us about this. There's a mobile grocery store that's the beginning phase of this grocery store initiative.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have like what is like a food truck? Is it?
It's like a grocery store on wheels. So like
So what does this look like? Take the picture.
So it's basically like we'll have we're working with Food Distributors as far as like making sure we got fresh produce, different things like that. We'll have dairy, we'll have meat. And we also working with local vendors, black-owned businesses. We got some in Atlanta, we got some in North Carolina that we bring in Louisville, and I'm kind of like talking to other people that have products to sell. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. So
I was gonna say, like, what area of town are you gonna be operating in, or is it gonna be?
It's kind of like we're gonna be everywhere just about, because we'll have like different locations that we'll pop up at that we're still trying to work on. I know one of the locations will be the grocery store, because the exterior part of the building will be somewhat done. So I know that'll be like one location, but we also gonna be doing like deliveries and stuff like that. I did a lot of study about West Louisville, and it seems like it had been years that they had that type of service as far as groceries being delivered to the home.
People don't remember that. It was
milk. Look at milk.
It was milk and orange juice, but right. You also had like fresh vegetables. You had people who used to come by and deliver fresh vegetables. So
yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, wow. So what I did was I did my customer discovery for the mobile truck, and I went out and I asked, residents in the community. I said, would it be beneficial to have a mobile grocery that that you could deliver? We could deliver to your homes and stuff like that. And they were actually really wanted to do, really was up for that opportunity. So.
So that's all good. Okay, yeah. So you had people coming out. If y'all to get out of our way. So you had
you caught me over it though.
Well, I thought you was gonna reach over the top and do it, man. But so you had the mobile grocery coming up, and then we had the actual grocery store that's gonna take place. Mm-hmm. So you've done all your research, you've done all your homework, and how does it feel? Because you were up here a few months ago, so now this is actually happening. How does it feel real? Because it didn't feel real to you then. Does it feel real now?
I'm trying to enjoy every moment, but in back of my mind, like Chelsea said, it's always some work that has to be done. So now I'm just learning how to just, accept the excitement because what I don't want is when the store opens and we hear and it's a celebration, I'm just like, oh, okay, here's a store, you know. So I'm trying to learn how to just be okay, still have work to do, but in the moments of accomplishing things, just being excited for it and looking forward to it.
So how many times have you pulled up to the parking lot and cried?
Huh?
How many times have you pulled up to the spot, the location, and cried? And like, you know what I'm saying, really be like, I took it all in and like, this is me.
I think, was it, I think it was last week or the week before when I did the volunteering where people had came out and helped clean up the property and all these people had shown up and I was like...
Just volunteers?
Yeah. They helped clean up the property and I was like, wow. And then just, it's kind of like, just went from there. And then the corporations was getting sponsored. I mean, wanted to sponsor and different things like that. So now I'm like, wow, this is like huge. This is really, this is really happening. So yeah, crazy.
Man, so tell us, in the process of this, what has been the most difficult part?
I think the most difficult part of it is really explaining to people who don't live, who the outsiders basically is what I call them. Okay. Understanding like why this needs to be done. You know, I have a lot of white allies that still trying to figure out as far as why this is so important for us to have something like this. So to constantly keep that conversation going. Sometimes I just be like, y'all should know this by now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all see, we've been dealing with these type of issues for decades. And I think what has really, I'm not saying it's fully woken people up, but I think the Breonna Taylor case, David McAtee case, and like the Kroger's closing on 26th and Broadway,
yeah,
Kroger's closing, and they looted that.
Right.
It's now that people are like, wow, like they really don't have resources. Like people got to eat. Like, you know, if you're gonna close down the only 2 grocery stores down there, people are gonna loot it. They need food. Yeah. So I think now people have woken up and like, wow, this is like a really bad issue, and you know, I've got nothing but major support on this. So I'm really happy to see that.
It's definitely needed.
Yeah, because the thing is that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but in the black community, particularly Louisville, they did a study on this. When black dollars, meaning that people's paycheck comes into their homes in West Louisville, it's out of their homes within a few hours. It's out of their community within a few hours. So other communities, like when I tell you about the Chinatowns and the dollar circulates in those communities multiple times, but it doesn't do that in our community. So it's a great thing you have going, man. So have you had to study like the cost of food and distributors and how to get this in, how to make it work? Yeah. So
it's a lot of detail, more than I actually thought it would be, but it is like literally a lot of, from the price to what you want to sell to really studying the foods and knowing if it's really organic or not, because a lot of these stores now just throw the organic stamp on food and it's really not organic. So just really studying that type of stuff is a lot, but I'm really learning a lot about food.
So are you specializing in organic?
Huh?
Are you specializing in organic foods?
Like in the store?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you bring organic, healthy foods to the community.
So we're working with like a lot of, my main goal is to really bring a lot of black farmers to Louisville. And which is amazing because there's a lot in Lexington. People really don't know about that. Right. So there's a lot of black farmers in Lexington, and there's a few in Louisville, and just like all over the states, Chicago, Atlanta, those places, there's a lot of black farmers. Texas. So I'm really trying to work with them to bring their products into the stores. Yeah. So.
Man, this is great because I noticed. We had, I guess last week or earlier this week, we had Blackout. What day was that? I worked so much.
Last Tuesday.
Blackout Tuesday. And I saw a lot of good things. I saw some complaints as well. And some of the complaints I saw were that people were, you know, people think of okay, well, we can't shop. We're supposed to withhold our dollars today to cause, to show that how much power our dollars have to stores that don't get it. So people are saying like, well, okay, we have a lot of black-owned restaurants, we have nail salons, we have barbershops, but outside of that, the options are slim. You know, there's no grocery, there's no. So I'm glad you guys are up here because we do have black-owned asphalt places, we have a grocery store coming, but we do as a community need to become focused on owning more options, because that's the thing. When like as we seen with coronavirus, when COVID-19 hit, it hit the black community harder than it hit every other community. And that's because we're living in poverty.
Right.
And the only way to get yourself out of poverty is to create economic wealth within your own community. So we have to quit being, you know, as black people, we were taught to go to college, get a job, and make somebody else rich.
Yeah.
But we weren't ever taught to create our own, and every other group creates their own.
Which is weird because I'm like the first person in my family to do something like this. So it's really weird for my family to see something like this.
Witnessing history.
They still like trying to understand, like, why are you doing this again? And I'm like, this is why I'm doing this. So it's like, once they see what I've been working on and they actually see the store, they're like, oh wow, this is what it took.
And let me tell you this, look, the important thing for all of us here is legacy.
Yeah.
How will you be remembered when you leave, right? So you know how you said when you did your research for the grocery store and you were researching black-owned grocery stores in this city and across the country, someone is going to be researching you one day.
Yeah.
So just, grasp that. You know what I mean? This movement now, someone is going to be researching what you did, how you did it, and molding the way they create a business based on yourself, Chelsea, as well. So we're going to move on to my girl, Ashlee Swift. Ashlee, can you move a little closer so we can get you in camera range? Ashlee, it's been a minute since I've seen you.
Hey.
This is Ashlee Swift, people. And
she got a unique story too.
Ashlee was one of those stories that when I saw her story, it touched me. It was 4 years ago. And it wasn't a story that was, at the time, it wasn't highly publicized. I think the media picked it up a little bit initially, but her dad was just telling this story over and over and over. We were Facebook friends. And I saw it, and I inboxed him, and I'm like, man, are you okay? And I'm like, what's going on with your daughter? And he was like, man, my daughter was on a trip to Vegas, I guess a vacation trip, or just a normal, what we do, go to Vegas, and she was in a car accident. And she was in a car accident, and she lost her arm. So I was intrigued. So I started following the story, and then I saw Ashlee. She started posting pictures on her Facebook like immediately, and throughout it all, she had to have an arm amputated. And I'm gonna let her tell a story, but she had to have her arm amputated. But from day one, it was all smiles, and I'm sitting here thinking like, "Yo, man, I couldn't put myself in that mind frame. If I lost my arm in a car accident at the time, how old were you?
By a drunk driver, too.
By a drunk driver, right? And you were how old?
I was 24.
24 years old. She was in great spirits from day one, and it just I was trying to put myself in that place, and I'm just like, she's had these are things that the gift of God, So she was in this place. So I'm gonna let you tell the story. You were 24 years old. It's been like 4 years ago, and you were out on Vegas. So move a little, or bring the mic a little closer to you, or move a little closer, whatever suits you. But you're on your Vegas trip, and talk us through this. So is it a normal Vegas weekend?
So I went down there with my child and her dad.
Okay.
And we stayed with our uncle for a couple days, and then that either Friday or Saturday, I think it was Saturday, we ended up going down, doing our own thing, me and her dad.
Okay.
And actually, almost as soon as we left my child.
I need you to speak up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. As soon as we left my kid, we went and checked into the hotel, and we were going to. We was going to fly over the strip
Okay.
You know, they have like these helicopter things. I went on Groupon and found a little discount so that we could fly over the strip in the helicopter, and the helicopter company picks you up in a bus, and they picked us up at 7. We checked in at like 6:30. They picked us up at 7, and by 7:30 we was in a car wreck.
Is it 7:30 a.m. or p.m.?
p.m.
p.m. So 7:30 at night. So you're on the I guess a shuttle bus that takes you out to wherever you're going to load get on a helicopter, board a helicopter.
Yeah.
So you're on what, on a highway, expressway?
Yes, and I was sitting in the back,
Okay.
by the window, and there was 12 people on the bus.
Okay.
And I guess the driver, he was in a little Toyota Celica, and he was just driving very fast and lost control.
Did you see this coming? Did you see the driver driving like erratic?
I did. I actually saw him lose control and hit us. And he hit us in the front, and so the back, it fell on the side that I was sitting on.
Wait a minute, so this little Toyota Celica knocked the bus on its side?
Mm-hmm.
How fast was he going?
Too fast. Yeah, he was going like 90 or 95.
Ooh. Okay.
And so I was like partially ejected through the window, and the bus ended up on top of my arm, and I was stuck. And so everybody who got off the bus, everybody was like, you know, in a daze. So I was just stuck, and my child's father had to like wave people down to have them help him lift the bus off of me.
So they lift the bus up physically?
Yes, but when they lifted it the first time, I couldn't get out because I couldn't move my upper body.
Okay.
And so that somebody came in and, you know, scooped me up, and I could walk, I could talk. I've been in nursing school before, so I knew to stay calm and, you know, just to...
So you're thinking this, like stay calm?
Stay calm, because I don't know what's going on. I know I need to go lay down as soon as I get out of here, so that, you know, just keep everything under control and just breathe. So I was just basically my own coach. And I was even keeping the people around me calm, because
I would have lost it. I ain't gonna lie.
It was a crazy situation, and I don't know. I tried to lose it once, and I was like, no, that's not gonna help the situation. Let's just stay calm, you know. Because once you get to thinking about all the people you love, and like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it out of this. I don't really know what's going on with me right now, because I didn't even look down at my arm, because I was like, I know it's bad. Because when I was when I was in the van, my hand was on the outside of the truck, and so, you know, I heard them saying like, I see her hand, like.
Oh, you can hear this.
Yes, I heard everything. I seen everything. I never passed out.
I know I'm freaking out.
So it was really crazy, and when the ambulance got there is when I found out, you know, really what was all going on. They had said that I had, my skull was exposed, my ear was, like, half of my ear was gone. They was looking for pieces of my ear. They said that I had an amputation, or a possible amputation, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, I was like, please just hurry up and put me to sleep. I don't want to hear this.
Well, so let me ask you this. When this is taking place, right?
Yes.
I know somewhat our body goes into natural shock, even if you're keeping it cool, right? Did you feel pain?
No. Not really.
Not at that moment. So you're not feeling any pain?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay, so you're, I guess, did they airlift you to the hospital? Or you?
No, the ambulance came and I got on that back of the ambulance.
Okay, so you're at the hospital. At what point are you aware that an amputation has to take place?
Once I woke back up and I was through, well, I mean, when they said it, as I was getting on the ambulance, they was like, you know, it's a possible amputation. And then when I woke up from the surgery in the ICU on the ventilator is when I knew that I had an amputation. So
when you woke up, your arm had already been amputated? Mm-hmm. Feelings then, at that point? How is it? I'm trying to get the thought process. At that moment, are you thinking like, oh my God, I'm not going to have an arm again? How are you feeling?
I mean, I was in shock. I cried, and then it was just like, it is what it is. It's not much. It's gone now. It's nothing else that I can do. So I don't know. I really don't.
Okay, so
every woman on our timeline crying right now.
So this is you're 24 years old and you experience 24. You have every excuse or opportunity to say, hey, I quit. I'm gonna sit at home. I'm gonna probably just collect disability. I'm gonna chill out and I'm gonna drown in my sorrows. But that didn't happen. So you muster up the fight and you go on with your life. So now you're a real estate agent. So you went through, what's the process? You have to get, what is it, classes or study, take a test?
Yes, I started my classes, I think 3 years ago, and it took me about a year to complete them. I was just taking my time because I knew that real estate was something I wanted to do. I just didn't know exactly, I didn't know exactly what or how much. Like, I didn't know if I wanted to do part-time or full-time or what, but I just knew that there's so many opportunities in real estate. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go to school and just take my time doing it so I can set myself up for whenever I'm ready, And so that took a year, and then the day that I posted that I passed my test, one of my old teachers had commented, and he was now a broker, and he commented and was like, well, let's sit down for lunch, and I ended up joining his brokerage. I didn't even sit with anybody else because I just liked how they did things, and
here you are, huh?
Here I am.
Okay, so question.
Yes, I do it full time. I did a year, and then last year was my first year in it, but I was still taking my time. So I only had 2 sales last year, but come November of last year, I had to make a decision because me and their father broke up, and I was like, I gotta take care of my kids, and I don't know. So I just decided that I'm gonna jump in and do the real estate thing, and ever since November, I've been taking off.
There it is.
So up from November to now, how many houses?
11. I actually had like 13 total, and 2 of them fell through. 14 total, 2 of them fell through, 10 of them have closed, and 1 of them will be closing next week.
And what's the average commission for real estate?
3% goes to the broker, and we split it.
You split the 3%.
All right, so challenges. Now, were you naturally right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, so you still have your right arm, but I assume with one arm now, what did you have to learn to do now, having one arm as opposed to 2?
I mean, everything, but it's not as hard as it seems. I mean, I guess I have the willpower also, so that helps a lot. But I had to learn everything. I have 2 young girls, and actually one of them came after the wreck, so I had to learn to take care of a new baby while taking care of a toddler, and everybody always is surprised about, well, some people are surprised about the fact that I drive, but like, I drove from the hospital the day that they released me. So
the day they released you, drove.
Been an issue. I was like, I'm driving up out of here.
So you had the mindset from the beginning, like, this is not going to deter me. Like, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing.
I still got stuff to do. I still got kids that I want to leave things for. I had to make it happen.
You got stuff to do.
Yeah. At the end of the day.
Okay, so
I was trying to hold her believe, like, she medicated and everything. She's like, I'm driving her back.
But that's what we have to do.
Yes, and
Black women is what we have.
Exactly, and I still deal with pain daily. I still take medicines. I try not to take them daily. I just take them as I need them. Because if I take them too much, then they don't work as good.
Okay.
So I just try to, keep it. Then having the nursing background helped me a lot because, I just understand a lot better. At one point, I was taking a whole lot of medicines, and I feel like my second daughter was kind of like God sent because I was taking so many medicines at that time, and when I found out I was pregnant, I stopped them all. And I was like, for my child, that's what it was.
Well, we are super proud of you, all of you ladies. We're super proud. Were there any multiple surgeries?
Yes, I had about, for sure I had 10 while I was in the hospital.
10?
Yeah. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and I had 10 surgeries in the time that I was in the hospital.
Wow.
They had to put me to sleep almost every time that they cleaned my wounds. And then they took skin from my legs to put it on my arms and on my head. And it was just a process.
But you're here, you're strong, and you're kicking. So before we get out of here, give the people your information. If someone wants to buy a home, they want to look at a home, they're interested in real estate, how they get in touch with Ashlee Swift.
Yes, I have people ask me all the time, like, what should I do? Which direction should I take? So I don't mind giving advice. And also I work for RE Solutions, and I work everywhere in Louisville, Kentucky. Eventually I want to get a license in Indiana as well, but for right now I'm just in Louisville. And
so real estate, like, is it sanctioned by counties? So like, can you sell a home in Bullitt County?
Yep.
Okay, so you're in the state of Kentucky.
Yes.
Okay, so you can.
It's just not ideal for me to go like all the way to Lexington.
Right.
But I can.
Unless the money's right.
Right.
All right, so Ashlee Swift, you're at RE Solutions?
Yes.
RE Solutions.
I guess I would get my phone number.
You can give your social media, your email. You can
gotta give your phone. Just give your social media. You're not trying to create stalkers.
I am Ashlee Swift on Facebook, ASHLEE,
Okay.
and my hashtag that I always use is AskAsh.
Okay.
I love to educate my clients and walk them through step by step. So if anybody needs any help buying a home, because that's the cornerstone of financial stability.
Get my home.
And so,
Is that company slogan? Is that your company slogan?
no.
Okay.
All right, so it's Ashlee Swift on Facebook, on Instagram, ASHLEE.
On Instagram, I'm Lady Ambitious 91.
Lady Ambitious 91. There you go. Megan, how can people get in touch with you? Because I know people want to donate, want to volunteer. How do they get in touch with Megan?
Shop at the grocery store.
Well, we have a Facebook page, the Next Door Mobile Market,
Okay.
where we're posting all of our information about volunteering at the store and different things like that, about the truck. And then also,
Can you speak up a little bit? You know,
Yeah.
the kids that broke off of their little computers in here. So.
It's a thing. It's a
All right,
thing.
Next Door Mobile Market on Facebook.
yeah, on Facebook and on Instagram, the Next Door Mobile Market.
Okay. And Chelsea.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Chelsea Ellis, and then Instagram is Miss Chelsea Ellis, and then my company website, JimReynoldsAsphalt.com.
JimReynoldsAsphalt.com. So people, if you want to buy a house, one of these young ladies up here can help you. If you want to put asphalt around that house, one of these young ladies can help you. If you want to buy some groceries
For your house.
for your house, there you go. One of these young ladies can help you. Thank you for tuning in to Urban Voices Radio. We are here every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. on Power 106 FM. You can also listen live on kyheartmedia.com. Again, that's kyheartmedia.com. Thank you, young ladies, for stopping by, and we hope to do this again.